Right, so let's get one thing straight. When you think about New Zealand, you probably think about the Lord of the Rings, sheep, and people saying fish and chips really funny. But what if I told you that some of the world's coolest inventions were dreamed up right here in little old New Zealand? So grab yourself a cup of tea or a coffee and prepare to have your mind mildly blown. Stick around, we'll get to it. Right, so let's start off our list with something a little shocking. Did you know that the electric fence was invented right here in the 1930s by a clever Kiwi named Bill Gallagher? The story goes that Bill's horse kept escaping, so instead of building a taller, much sturdier fence, he built a fence that said, "Touch me and regret everything." He rigged a car ignition coil to a fence and zapped his way into history. Not only did it work, it kept the animals in check, and the Gallagher brand is still one of the biggest electric fence companies in the world today. From the paddocks of Waikato to the pastures of Texas, animals everywhere owe their emotional damage to a Kiwi. Coffee. The only thing that makes my mornings a little bit more tolerable. But did you know that before BP Connect, before Nespresso pods, before your local cafe barista misspelt your name and got your order wrong, there was instant coffee? And would you believe that this little beauty was invented right here in New Zealand? Well, in 1890, a man named David Strang from Invercargill patented a dry hot air process to create instant coffee powder. Basically the world's first powdered coffee on the go. And now this stuff keeps office workers alive, hikers awake, and students writing essays at 3 a.m. wondering where it all went wrong. And it all started right here. Sure, it's not gourmet, but it's efficient, practical, and it's proudly Kiwi. Like eating a pie at the servo at 2 a.m, it's not fancy, but it gets the job done. Alright, let's talk about speed, and not the drug. When you think about supercars, New Zealand's probably not the first thing that springs to your mind, is it? We've got winding roads, long stretches of highway, but our national speed limit makes your nan look fast. But did you know that one of the most legendary names in racing is totally Kiwi? Bruce Mclaren was born in Auckland in 1937. He started tinkering with cars as a teenager, and by the ripe old age of 22, he was the youngest person ever to win the Formula One Grand Prix. A few years later, he founded the Mclaren racing team, a name now associated with elite engineering, wild speed, and cars so sleek they make Ferraris feel self-conscious. From Auckland to the Autobahn, Bruce took Kiwi ingenuity global. And yeah, I know someone in the comments is going to say, but the company's based in the UK. Alright, so let's take a moment to appreciate all the farmers out there. They're a big backbone of our economy and a huge part of Kiwi culture. So next up we've got a dairy invention so revolutionary it made cows everywhere breathe a collective sigh of relief. We're talking about the Zealandia milking machine. Invented in the early 1900s by Norman Daish, the Zealandia was the first commercially viable mechanical milking machine. It replaced the old school hand milking technique that was, frankly, a little bit too hands-on for everyone involved. Thanks to this Kiwi breakthrough, dairy farmers could milk more cows more efficiently with less pain and fewer awkward eye contacts with Betsy the cow. Alright, so let's talk about jumping off of high buildings. So now let's talk about the only time where it's acceptable to jump off a bridge in front of your relatives. A.J. Hackett and Henry Van Ash took inspiration from the land diving traditions of Vanuatu. Then they added a stretchy cord, a massive cliff, and a business model. In 1988, they opened the world's first commercial bungee jumping site here in Queenstown, which is now basically the adrenaline capital of the universe. Now, people from all over the world come to New Zealand to willingly throw themselves off bridges, cliffs, and cranes. And they also pay good money for it. And I say, good on you, mate. Alright, it's time to appreciate one of the most underrated inventions on the list. Did you know that the humble paint tin lid was invented right here in New Zealand? Yeah, I know, it doesn't sound that thrilling, but hear me out. Back in the day, paint tins were like that Tupperware container in your kitchen. Impossible to open and even harder to close without leaking all over the place. Enter Kiwi innovator John Estace. In the 1940s, he designed the modern style paint tin lid. You know, the one that fits snugly, doesn't leak, it actually seals the paint in. This little ring of metal changed DIY forever. Now we can buy a 4 litre of paint for a 5-minute job and leave the rest of the paint perfectly preserved in the garage, forgotten for the rest of eternity. Thanks, New Zealand. So it's no surprise that I've always wanted to live in a post-apocalyptic hellscape, and the next inventor on our list may have brought us one step closer. Now let's talk about the man, the myth, the atomic splitting legend, Earnest Rutherford. Born in Brightwater, Nelson, and known worldwide as the father of nuclear physics. Pretty casual actually. Rutherford was the first person to split the atom. He discovered the concept of the atomic nucleus, won a Nobel Prize, and basically laid the groundwork for everything from nuclear energy to modern medicine. And he did all of this while looking like someone's dad who fixes quad bikes for perkies on the weekends. Meanwhile, I'm over here wearing odd socks and I don't fully understand how microwaves work. But Ernest, he was out there reshaping science. And yeah, Kiwis love reminding the world he was one of ours. That's why he's on our $100 bill, right where geniuses belong. So, let's talk about pricks. Now we've got a 2-for-1 special on the world of pointy things. The disposable syringe and the tranquilizer dart gun. One helps save lives, the other takes down a Shetland pony.
Oh, what? That's what I thought. Shut up.
Both are Kiwi made. Colin Murdoch, the pharmacist and veterinarian from Timaru, invented both of them. He was like, hey, what if we make syringes safe, sterile, and only usable once? That's pretty revolutionary, isn't it? But then he went full dad who's free on the weekend and said, hey, what if we create a gun that also shoots animals? But with medicine, I guess. I guess we could do that too. His inventions are now used by vets, zoos, and wildlife conservationists around the world. Not bad for a guy whose day job was giving your dogs its flea shots. I'm not even going to pretend to like this next one. Alright, get ready to feel lazy and question everything about yourself and all your life choices. We're talking about jogging. Yes, jogging. Fast walking or slow running was basically invented right here in New Zealand.
In the 80s, for millions, jogging is not just a way of life, but life itself. In the 60s, New Zealand's Peter Snell and Murray Halberg took on the world's best and won. The face of running had been changed forever. It was the vision of one man, Arthur Lydiard, the most controversial and successful coach this century.
In the 1960s, legendary Kiwi running coach and marathon runner Arthur Lydiard encouraged people to go out for casual runs to stay healthy, even if they weren't athletes. At the time, people were like, wait, are you trying to trick me? You want me to run? Are you serious? But then later there started a global fitness movement from Jane Fonda to the Fitbit. It all traces back to this one New Zealander. So next time you're dragging yourself for a 5k, sweaty and full of regret, just remember you're part of the Kiwi legacy and maybe curse Lydiard under your breath. Right, so before we end this list, I just want to drop a couple of honourable mentions. The Egg Beater, Hairpins, the Jet Boat, the Zorb, Easy Yo homemade yogurt, the Briscoes lady, inventor of sales on a regular basis, the Pavlova, the Lamington, hundreds and thousands biscuits, and Dave Dobbin, inventor of songs. Righto, so we've hit the end of our list. It's time to blow the final whistle. Did you know that the modern sports referee whistle? Yep, that. It's another Kiwi creation, invented by William Maytack, a school teacher and rugby referee in the 1880s. Before him, referees used to shout to control the game, which sounds pretty damn inefficient if you ask me, especially if the players were half deaf from the last scrum. So William started using a whistle to get the players' attention, and it worked so well that it became standard all around the world, from football to rugby to basketball, all thanks to one Kiwi bloke who just wanted to be heard. Pretty relatable if you ask me. Right, so there you have it folks. Those were my 10 inventions that prove that New Zealand's impact on the world is a lot bigger than our laid-back attitude and penchant for bare feet suggests. Kiwis have been out there getting things done for years, and I'm proud of every one of them. So if you got something out of this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel to stay updated with more videos like this. I'll see you in the next one, eh?